Kia ora, Helen Brahms here, coming to you live from Mesa in Arizona. Hope you're all having a super fantastic sparkling start to your Serenity Sunday. Serenity Sunday is all about taking the day off, kicking back, relaxing, however it is relaxed. Some people really do truly relax with putting their feet up, reclining in a chair, laying on a couch, staying in bed for an extra 2 or 3 hours. Just being really sort of like lazy or a couch potato. And other ones, for their relaxation, they've got to get out, they've got to get moving, go for a run, do something adrenaline running like skydiving or something like that, because that helps them relax. So, however it is that you relax, enjoy your Serenity Sunday. It's what today's all about. But the important thing about today, too, is putting this thing down, putting this device down, and not relying on it as much. The only time this thing will get put on today, if it gets put on at all, will be to check on something on IMDb if I happen to be watching a movie. Apart from that, it is going to be sitting here on the table away from me. I will probably spend most of my day either in the recliner or lazing in bed, and you'll find out why in a moment. Um, just, so so it's all about unplugging too, because unplugging is essential to the brain because the brain needs a rest every now and again. So having something like a Serenity Sunday where you have a day off, you can kick back, calm down, rest. You may do some meditation with that today too. But this Serenity Sunday is not exactly what I had planned. My plan for today was to pack up the RV so tomorrow we could go for a 13-mile drive down the road to fill up the propane tank and then a 13-mile drive back again. That is not going to happen. Woke up this morning, was up and moving around, and the room was like spinning a little bit, and I was sort of like, oh crap, we have an ear infection. It's not a painful ear infection. Usually I feel them coming on. This time I didn't. I woke up with it this morning, and when I get ear infections, my balance is affected and vertigo starts to kick in. So I was sort of like, double crap. I got to take Zeffy for a walk. This is going to be, and she likes to go. So I had to have a little talk with her this morning and explain that my balance was off and I could not have her jerking the leash like she normally does. Thank goodness I now have the leash that goes around the waist. And so I use that when I'm out walking her, and it doesn't pull me off balance as much as if she was on a regular leash, pulling my arm to one side and all of that. So what I can say is vertigo sucks. So as soon as I discovered that, as soon as I got finished getting dressed, I still have I don't know if you probably can't see them because it's well tucked in, but I get my little bit of cotton wool, cotton balls, rip a little piece off, put a drop of melaleuca on there, melaleuca oil, and then put it over the ear hole and just tuck the cotton ball into the ear so it stays there. Not all the way into the canal, just in the opening of the canal, but enough that it stays there. And I've actually got it on both ears. Then I take a drop of melaleuca oil, and I use it neat. Some people have to use it diluted, and that's fine. And what I do is I take the drop from the back of the ear down and actually underneath the jawbone down to here. So down and underneath the jawbone. And I've done that on both ears. And that usually clears things up in about 30 minutes. I have noticed an improvement in my balance, and as long as I don't move my head quickly, we're okay. And we made it to the dog park. I usually stand in the middle of the dog park because Zeffy likes to hang around wherever I'm standing at the time. But she had her little friend Ziva. Well, Ziva's not exactly little. Ziva is a 53-pound bulldog. I did not know that bulldogs could move as fast as this one does. And her name is Ziva. And there's a lot of Z dogs in here. We have Zoe, Zeffy, Ziggy, Ziva, and Zeke. There's 5 dogs now that I know of in the park that begin with Z. So it is a bit of a time. Anyway, so we made it to the dog park. We even managed a short walk after the dog park because the dog park's just kind of behind us and down about 4 sites. So we were able to make it over there, and then I did a little short walk back, not coming directly back. I went down the street further, across the end of the street and back down, which is our short walk. It's not very long at all. It takes sort of 3 minutes to walk back. Excuse me. A lot of allergy stuff going on right now, which is probably why I have the beginnings of the ear infection. In fact, it more than likely is because I usually get it around changes of season. And we had we had all the windows open and the doors open yesterday in here, and we had a lot of cross breeze going on. But then I had to go close the doors because the dust was starting to come in because the wind was getting up and it was picking up the dust and everything. So I now have, and of course, when you're outside walking in the dust and you're breathing all of that stuff in, yeah, my lungs and sinus passages don't like them very well. Um, so yes, we did a short walk, got back, and I'm thankful that we are in the space that we're in because there's not a lot of space that, it's spacious enough for us and for what we need to do, except the separate work area thing, but that's another issue. But at least when I'm walking around the RV, I'm always within reaching distance of something. So if I need help with my balance, I've got that help with my balance when I'm walking around. Excuse me. So yeah, so we're going to be resting up today. We're not going to be packing up the RV. We are just going to be completely resting, letting the Melaleuca do its job, and lots of hot tea today. So I've got my green tea with lemon and honey, and I have my lemon, ginger, and manuka honey tea as well. So we're going to be drinking a lot of that today. And I also have a detox tea or a breathe tea. There's one herbal tea that I've got that you've got to let brew for like 15 minutes. And I think it's a breathe, so it helps free up the bronchial tubes and all of that sort of stuff. And so I'll definitely be doing that today. I may even do and I hate doing these, but it helps so much. And that is getting the bowl of hot water. There's the oils in there and putting the towel over the head to help clear the nasal passages and the bronchial tubes and all that sort of stuff. I hate doing it because it's really, yes, I'm breathing in the steam, but it's an enclosed space with my face, and that's why I hate doing it because I go into panic attacks with the thing. And because I'm breathing in the steam, it's even worse. So I kind of have to. So it's only over the bowl for about 30, maybe 40 seconds, doing some deep breathing, and then the towel off the head to get some deep cold air into those lungs. Then back up under for another 30 to 40 seconds, and I keep repeating that for about 5 minutes. And that keeps the panics at bay. But I also end up with a very hot, sweaty head, and I hate heat on my head. I really, really do. The only time I wear hats is during wintertime when the temperatures are cool, because if my head's covered and my feet are covered, head, hands, and feet are the three important things that I've got to keep covered when it's really, really cold. If those are covered, the rest of me is usually pretty much okay. But if I'm hot, those are the areas that I go to cool down. It's peppermint on the bottom of the feet. It's peppermint on the back of the head. Even on the top of my head, I'll put a drop of peppermint up here as well, because it helps with that cooling effect. Yeah, I'm not good with hats. Well, I kind of sometimes like really wearing hats. Like I'm wearing my Stetson every day because it's cool outside, so it's keeping the top of my head warm. And I'm also wear them at night too when it gets cold. But if it's too cold and there's a breeze blowing, my little Christmas beanie comes out, and that goes on because it keeps my ears covered. Because that's another good way of stopping ear infections. But anyway, so enough of that. So then I also had something exciting to do today when I sat down. So you've all seen my little blue book that I use for my notes when I am. This is my little blue journal that I use for my notes when I'm doing my day stuff. So I write at the top, I put the number of the day it is, the date, where I am, I'm doing my location, and then I put, is it Serenity Sunday, is it Shake It Up Saturday, and I'll put like a couple of little notes there, and then throughout the day I'll add notes to it. So it's sort of like a bullet journal, I guess, I don't know. It's my journal. But this one got filled yesterday, so I've got my little sticker on here, and I found my other one, and I was looking for a blank journal, and I found another one, and I know there's one before this as well. This one here is day 172 to day 291, which was the 22nd of January of 2020 to the 17th of May of 2020 was this journal. This journal, of course, is day 293 to 528, and today's 529. And it goes from the 18th of May 2020 to 9th of January 2021, and that's in this one. And then I was looking around for an empty journal, and I suddenly came across this one that I made myself, and it's My Life Adventures. It's got a little compass on the button here, and it's got my name down here. And these are great little journals. These have about 300 pages in them, I think. So this should see me through the end of the year. Sometimes I do go on to, but this is what the inside looks like. So up the top here, you have your weather, Your weather, is it sunny, overcast, raining, storming? Then you have the day of the week that you can circle. Over here you've got a memo, and then you've got the date underneath there. So I can put the date here, and then I can put in the memo what day number I'm on, and then over top of the weather thing I'm putting where I'm at, my location. So and it's got a little bookmark, and the cool part is it's got a little magnet. Oh, hang on, sorry, you can see that. It has a little magnetic snap here. And so I was able to customize this complete cover, customize my little snap. I have several, oh, if you saw my posting yesterday about the for the company launch I was on, this is the journal for the company that was launched yesterday. And on the snap, and a friend sent me this, and on the snap has got my name written on it. So I know it's mine. I love that. So I am on to journal number 4 for Helen's Great Adventures. And I was sort of like thinking, well, what have I done with the first one that was used before, that was used for the first 174 days? So I've got to go find that one now. I don't know where it is. It could be in storage. Because I haven't come across it during my cleanups and everything. So that one could be in, could very well likely be in storage. So I am on to my 4th journal since starting my Helen's Great Adventures series on the 1st of August 2019. So we're up to day 529, and I'm on to my 4th, this is my 4th journal. So I'm beginning that with this, and yeah, so that was my other little, so this is my new beginnings. I've got my new journal for a new day on a Serenity Sunday. Yes, love that. And then having to deal with vertigo today. So I am not going to be packing up the RV, which means I won't be getting propane tomorrow, which means I can spend some day doing some work and getting caught up there, because I had a meeting with one of my clients on Friday, and I have a list of stuff to do. So I'd really, really, really like to get that list knocked out. And I was planning on doing some yesterday. And after the mind-blowing launch party we had yesterday and all the amazing, incredible information that we had, there was no way my brain was even going to concentrate on it. It was too much all over the place. It was seriously all over the place. I mean, I got my, although I still have my one piece of paper left over for my fun tin, which is behind my laptop right now. So I got, I was trying to remember how many I had. 4 into quarters, each quarter into a quarter. So there was 16 pieces of paper per page, 3 pages. Was it 4? I think it was 3 pieces of paper. So that's 48. So I've got 47 fun ideas in my fun tin, and this will be number 48 as soon as I figure out what it is. Because most of the other suggestions I've seen so far are already in my tin. So I don't know. I even have things in my tin like so some of the things I put on my tin for fun activities to do for a fun thing was to go for a drive for a burger, or go for a drive for an ice cream or a piece of pie or something like that. And people are going, why would you put that there? Well, back when I was living in New Zealand, we used to do crazy things. Like there was one time we wanted a burger. So, oh, we'll go get it. We'll go get a burger. And in New Zealand, you have these takeaway places, which are basically a storefront, and you probably got about maybe 2 to 3 feet that you would step inside. Then will be the counter, and behind it will be all the cooking and prepping area and everything like that. And so you would just hang out there on the street in front of these takeout places to get your burgers or your fish and chips, and some of them you would actually have a store that you would actually step into, and you had chairs and tables that you could wait at and all that sort of stuff. But most of these sort of like, they literally were a hole in a wall. And there was a really, really good one in Picton. Now, Picton is a little town that's at the top end of the South Island, and that's where all the Inter-Island ferries berth. So the Inter-Island ferry goes between Wellington Harbour and Picton. And if you're on the regular Inter-Island ferry, it probably takes around 3 hours to do the crossing. There are faster services that will get you there quicker because, but the longest part is coming in through the Marlborough Sounds, which is it is absolutely stunning because you're coming in through this channel and there's islands all over this place, and it's protected in there. It's beautiful, calm waters in there, and they have a certain speed that they have to maintain no matter what type of watercraft you have. You have to maintain the certain speed through this area. You have to you're not allowed to go faster than whatever the low speed is that they have to go, because there's too much of the wake washing up on the shores of some of these islands and things, and they found it was eroding the shorelines and affecting some of the wildlife and things. So they have a minimum a maximum speed that you're allowed to go through the channel into the Marlborough Sounds to Picton. They have a maximum speed, and you are not allowed to go over that. And that is a speed where they have the minimal wake from the vessel coming in. So it's virtually minimal to no wake that your vessel will have. But Picton's this great little town, and so we decided to go for a burger one day. So we went down to Wellington and said, well, where's the best burger place around? And somebody mentioned, and there's a group of us, and somebody mentioned Picton. We're going, Picton? Yeah, sure, why not? So we went down to the Inter Island ferry and depot and that. Got on as walk-on passengers, walked on the ferry. Had this 3.5 hour crossing, which was it was a gorgeous day. Got to the other side in Picton. Got off the ferry, walked into the downtown area, which is like a 5, maybe a 10-minute walk from the ferry. Once you get off the ferry, it's like, I think it's about 5 minutes. And then we went to this little takeaway place, little hole in the takeaway place that did have the best burgers, and it had great burgers. So we got our burgers and fries, and we went and we sat. We called them burgers and chips, and we went and sat down by the waterfront and overlooked the area where the ferry was parked, and they had this beautiful marina area. It's just a beautiful area along the shoreline there in Picton, and sat there and had our burgers and fries, and we finished it in enough time because the ferry has. I'm trying to remember what the turnaround time is, because it also has a lot of freight on the ferry as well. So it takes cars, passengers, and freight, and so it's however long it takes them to offload everything, do the cleanup on the ferry, and then reload it again for the next thing. And they put train carriages on this thing as well as trucks, and they have these really cool little dinky things that hook up. If you've got the 18-wheel hitch, so there's little dinky things going tucking under, and so all you basically see is like the trailer for the just moving along by itself, and you've got to look down the front. And there's this little dinky truck transportation thing that they put onto they drive it on, store the trailer, and then at the other end they have another one of these things that come off, and they put them in an area, and then the trucks come in and hook up and take them away. But yeah, so we sat there, had burgers, wandered around the town for a little bit, got back on the ferry, and went back home. So I think we had like 2, maybe 3 hours between the, I think 2 hours. 2 or 3 hours between the turnaround time from when we landed to when the ferry departed again. So, we used to do crazy things like that. And so I forgot in my tin to drive and get an ice cream. So I'm going to find some really cool ice cream places that, you could get in a car and do a day trip to for an ice cream. Or do a day trip to get a piece of pie or a burger or something like that. Another one we did down to Picton one time is that we wanted lunch. And so we hopped on the ferry, went over to Picton, and they had this hotel with a pub. There's a pub on the lower level, and then there's a hotel above it. And we went into the pub, and for like $5, you got the shoot, what's it called? Can't remember the name, but it's this oval plate, and it was piled high. There was a ham steak on there. There were hot chips. There was salad. There was just piled high full of stuff, and it was like $5 for this whole plate, and it was really, really good food. What else was on there? Eggs were on there. Yeah, it was just this. It was like this big breakfast / lunch. It was a brunch platter, is what I would call it, a brunch platter. It just full of breakfast stuff and lunch stuff, and it was really, really good. And you got these beautiful fresh bread rolls with it, and $5, and you're sitting there by the window looking out over all the harbour and everything. So you can do wacky things like that. I had friends who drove all the way down who drove 3 hours to get down to. They decided to go for burgers, so left their kids with the grandparents for the night, hopped in their car, drove 3 hours down to Wellington, left their car parked at the ferry terminal, got on the ferry, went across to Picton, had their burger for dinner, got on the ferry. Got on the ferry, went back to Wellington, got in the car, and drove 3 hours back home again. So we do crazy stuff like that. So I've got in there things like go for a drive, get an ice cream, go for a drive, get a pie, go for a drive for a burger. So I'm going to start collecting places to go that I hear of for really good burgers and stuff. And as long as it's within a day trip, you can get there and back in a day. Yeah, that's the rule. You've got to get there and back in a day. So I've got crazy stuff in there like that. Instead of just going down the road, go a little further. Go to some little town in the middle of nowhere for lunch, or go over there for you hear they have a good pie, and There's a place in Washington that had a really good, oh, what was the name of that pie? It was a really, really good pie, and it came out, and it was a type of berry, and it was this tall. We actually stopped there. I have it written in one of my journals, and it's neither of those ones. It's in the first one. And we stopped there because we needed food. We'd come across the Canadian border back into the US, and we're driving down the road, and we said, okay, we need somewhere for lunch. We found this place where we pulled off. We went inside for lunch. Had a great. It was this little diner in the middle of nowhere. Had this great lunch, and then I asked them what this particular, because it was the name of the berry that got me, and I said to the waitress, so what type of berry is this? She goes, oh, it's a locally grown berry. She says you can't get it anywhere else. You can only get it here. So I looked at my mum and dad, and we were also like, we'll all take a piece of that. And I kid you not, these things came out. They were probably 2 to 3 inches high. The pie was about 3 inches high, and it was really. And of course, we had it a la mode, and it was really, really good pie. So that went into my journal, so that when I'm back in that area again, and it's somewhere in Washington, in some little middle of nowhere, that I can go back there and have a piece of that pie. So if I'm ever in Washington for a time, that's going to be a day trip to that place to get another piece of that pie, because it was good pie, and it had this fresh homemade pastry as well. So now I'm really hungry. I gotta have breakfast now. So anyway, have a super fantastic sparkling Serenity Sunday. I am going to go and rest up for the day, get rid of this ear infection that's going on, do what I do to take care of myself and nip it in the bud before it actually turns into a full-blown vertigo. Um, so yes, I won't be packing up the RV today. I won't be getting my laundry done today. Um, it's just going to be a complete day of complete and utter rest. So have a super fantastic sparkling Serenity Sunday, and we'll catch you guys later today. Hei konera.